Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today is a special episode. We're bringing on Lindsey Hawkins onto the show. She's founder and CEO over at Blue Trail Digital. Lindsey, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Happy to be here.
All right, so these are some of my favorite interviews. When I hear that the Launchbox is working with another company, they have another leader here. When Bill sending me someone over, I get excited because they're always great interviews. So no pressure there, but it's good to have you.
Yeah, no pressure following Bill. No pressure.
All right. Lindsey, as you're aware, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So, Lindsey, at Mission Matters, our mission is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Lindsey, what mission matters to you?
The mission that matters to me and Blue Trail Digital Initiative is to enable a happy and successful working experience when it comes to creative content operations. You know, it's already hard to manage content, so we want to actually enable these large organizations with lots of brands to get it right.
Yeah, it's great. Love bringing mission-based entrepreneurs on the line to share, why they do what they do, how they do it, and what we can all learn from that, so we all grow together. So, I guess just getting us kicked off, where this idea for Blue Trail Digital come about? I mean, I understand you're a designer and artist. How this all come about?
Yeah, so my entire career has been dedicated to the arts and design and education of arts and design, and got into consulting and helping with visual communications and written communications, and even got into some change management. Yeah. And I was at an enterprise and was on a project explaining DAM. And I was like, what's DAM? And this is over a decade.
You were upset or no? I had to do that joke at least once. Come on.
Yeah, like they kept cussing and the client kept cussing. And I was like, why are you so wound up in this meeting? And he laughed at me so hard. He's like, it means digital asset management. And when I understood the operation behind that, I just was hooked of like, wait. So we can actually help designers and marketers get their job done faster and efficiently. And I've been in it ever since then, really passionate about it, and have an empathetic view as a actual designer.
Yeah. For those that aren't familiar with DAM and exactly kind of what it entails, maybe just let's start pretty basic, like give an overview of even what that means.
So DAM means digital asset management. And what that means is it's both a noun and a verb. So as a noun, it is an actual technology solution where you can store your files. And you can say, yes, you have permissions to use this, or no, you don't. But as a verb, it's the process of how do you get those files in there? Is there data behind there so you can actually search and find your stuff? Yeah. And then how do you distribute from there and get it to the channels like Amazon or Google or a retail store, for example, or even a print service. So it's the experience of moving our creative assets in that digital space to get it where it needs to go.
And I feel like as time has gone on, whether you're a small company or a large company, middle market, whatever, like the quantity of digital, like if we go way back when, like maybe like your digital asset management system, it probably wasn't that. It was just an asset management system. It was a file cabinet. Maybe you had a couple brochures. Like, let's go way back. You maybe had a couple of brochures, and then, it grew from there, right? It grew from there. And maybe you're cleaning it out, like just to think about the physical side of it was, those brochures are old. We're getting rid of them. Again, we're going way back, right?
Sure. At one point, sitting in an agency, there's a back room in your agency, and if anyone from agencies listening, they're going to be laughing at this, that you would walk in, and it would be from floor to ceiling files of client work, and in there you'd have like a CD or a zip disk or a floppy disk, and then you'd have the actual printouts of the mock-up and everything from there. So take that,
Yeah, I want to only take it one step further. We're going to get into AI and all that later, but let's just get in. Let's do the evolution a little slowly because I want people to wrap their head around this one. So we go from that to now, the digital revolution, right? Everything's online. So now you have the combination. Like, so now what challenges does that pose?
Oh, so the biggest challenge is keeping up with the demand of content. So there's
Mm,
more channels. I feel like every week there's some new social channel or
yeah.
digital retail experience. E-com has boomed, especially since COVID
Mhm.
hit. So now we need more content because we have more channels.
Yeah.
And some of these channels are so new, for example, e-com. Well, for
Mhm.
some marketers or designers, they aren't accustomed to what are the actual expectations of how big
Mhm.
an image is on Amazon. Sorry,
Yeah.
Amazon, you're a great example. Uh, so getting that right can be intimidating if you've never done that before. So that's one of the biggest challenges is just how do you keep up with all the different expectations and all
Mhm.
the different specs across these channels when you're building a really large campaign for a
Mm.
brand?
And so numbers. So once it would have went from maybe at one point what for a campaign to what? Like, and just random,
Oh,
I mean, throw it out there. I know that's a broad question, but
yeah.
I want to wrap my head around this.
So I'll say this. I don't have like the exact number of that
Yeah,
question, but
yeah, no, of
I'll
course.
give
And
you
it could be
that.
any campaign. So it could vary. I mean, like use that picture example, just
Yeah.
build on that one. So you might have put that picture in 5 places originally, and there was only a couple of areas and a couple
Oh, yeah.
formats. Now that could be, X.
So previously, at the beginning of the digital revolution,
Mhm.
you would worry about TV spot, you'd worry
Yeah,
about print, you'd worry about a billboard and all the images that go with that.
yeah.
Now you have to worry about multiple channels that
Mhm.
are media, which we don't even call it TV anymore, right?
Yeah.
We say the internet, we say YouTube, and then you have to look at all of the actual web content that's
Mhm.
going to. So the volume of these brands, and we tend to work with like a house of brands, and I'll explain
Yep.
what that is, but it can be hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And so when you say that, that's why I'm like, oh,
No,
like
and
it's
I
big,
wanted I wanted to say that on purpose, and the reason I
right?
say that too is because I feel like, and I'll pick on myself, I'll pick on me. We're not the hugest media company. We're not CNBC, but we're scrapping. We put out a lot of content. But that
Mhm.
being said, sometimes I'll be talking with our designers, the back office, and I'm already out of touch with how much we're doing. Because, and we're not even, we're not CNBC, but I'm out of touch on how many formats you need for a picture or something else when I'm doing a photo shoot or something else. Like, I'm already out of touch on it. And I'm like, wow, wait a minute, what channel are we on? Like, somebody the other day even asked about social media and otherwise, and I was like, I don't know where that's going. Like, that's going to be in this, and this, and that's why it needs to be done. And so my mind was blown. So I have a feeling there's a little bit of disconnect at times in the C-suite for like these, large corporations and what that entails to go to hundreds of thousands of pieces of content, possibly on a campaign.
Absolutely. There is a really genuine big disconnect. And I don't think it's intentional,
No,
but
it's not. No.
it happens. But the big thing that we really emphasize when we are
Mm,
talking to a C-suite or an
mhm.
executive who's maybe a little disconnected is the return on investment.
Yeah.
On average, it can be about 30%.
Yeah.
So if you actually are efficient, the digital asset management program, it could even, I dare say, pay for itself
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
you get a return on reusing content, having
Yeah.
reference points, uh,
Use an
protect.
example of that. Like, give us when you say that. Like, I hear the number, but it doesn't mean anything to me. So, like, give an example of maybe inefficiency and how it could be done more efficiently. Just it could be made up. It could be a real client, whatever you like. Like,
Sure,
that could lead to savings. So we can kind of get this clear in our head.
sure. So I'll give a real example without naming names here.
Yeah.
Working at a large enterprise, we wanted to prove that digital asset management was going to be worth it and would pay for itself. Well, how do we
Mm.
do that? It was kind of like we just stuck our hand in a hat and we just pulled one campaign.
I like that. You're feeling like we're feeling lucky. Come on.
We're feeling brazen. Like we know we can prove this. We pulled one
It's
campaign
amazing.
and then we pulled one video.
Mm.
Okay. And it was for a TV commercial. And then we studied that one video. Well, we all
Mhm.
agreed that the blue sky over Atlanta was something that could be recycled into other, not only other pieces for this particular brand, but actually they could share it with other departments and brands. So we wanted to prove it. So we took some time and we went and looked at all the other media TV ads that had big blue sky images. And we found, I think, 40 different reasons you could have recycled this one clip of the skyline of Atlanta. And we estimated the company could have saved, eventually we got to over $1 million and just not build. So instead what happens is those 40 different clips we found, those are 40 different projects that got remade over and over. That's how inefficient these big house of brands can be.
And then just to elaborate, to make sure I'm understanding that correctly. So then they would, they're going to hire a crew. They got to get all the production staff. They get all that done. They're going out there. They're shooting one particular segment. They're not thinking about the B-roll or all the other stuff that they already paid for, right? So they paid for this. They already have, they own those assets. And now where those go or whatever their management system is for it. So now that project's done. Now when they go to another project, it's like, all right, it's time to start over. Nobody's looking at, oh, we already got that.
Exactly. It's that simple.
So now you start over again. You do the exact same thing. And you're like, I mean, that's chaos, right? Like that's.
It's complete chaos, and it's unnecessary chaos. And, agencies that they can still do great and be a great partner to their clients and still recycle content. So maybe save some money.
And from them, on those savings, I mean, obviously a company can do whatever they want with it, but it just gives more opportunity if they keep it in that budget, if they want to create more things, better things, get more creative, experiment. Like there's just so much more they can do with that, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just about money. It's also about brand integrity. Be consistent. Being consistent matters for your consumer experience. And we do know that we can have an impact on that as well.
So let's say that we're going down that continuum. We started in the back room with all the things, and then we went to digitization. Now we have the gasoline on the fire known as AI.
Let's talk about
what
AI.
Does this do? If we didn't already have so much to deal with, now what do we have to deal with? And we bring AI into the picture.
Yeah, I had a great conversation last week in Austin. Actually, we had an event and have some wonderful people in marketing and content there. And we start talking about AI. And I love this one point we all agreed on is right now, AI as a solution is being forced a lot into companies' initiatives, into even content management initiatives. And it's being forced because it's there and it's cool and it's a new toy. What really does work, and it can work, where AI can be wonderful if it's focused. So if we take that as a tool and we just focus on, can it help us sharpen the metadata that goes behind a piece of content on a digital file so we can find it faster? Can it be leveraged for some type of visual search engine solution so our users can find things consistent and faster? AI is going to be very helpful in the industry, and it already is, by the way. It's been around for a while, just it hasn't been so popular to talk about. But there's definitely opportunities. If it's focused correctly, it can be great. If it's not focused, right now it's still like a toddler with markers. That you're like, that's cool that you can use markers, but that wasn't what we were looking for.
So when it comes to workflows, things like that, like what you're talking about, can you give an example of maybe how like AI can help with a workflow or cut down time or inefficiency?
So in particular, you can actually do what's called robotic learning, and you can help an AI program actually learn what you as a team are looking for on a particular brand. So if it starts to always see that yellow goes with that package of candy, it can say, oh, okay, when I see that yellow, it most likely is this candy. And it can start to sort that way. You can even program it to do searches by color. Like let's say, there's a particular purple that you use on your brand. You can just type in purple, and everything that's purple that looks like that brand's purple will come up. And that's all robotic learning and leveraging AI to make some shortcuts and processes. In particular, search and data placement. We're noticing that it's genuinely helpful in those two areas right now.
Mhm. How
That's
do you see it affecting like quality of creative? Like, how do you see it playing in that role? Because this is to me, as I'm having these discussions, which are super fun. I love having creative people on here. Because I have both sides. I have both sides of the stories pretty often, which I have the technologists on here that are all technologists. I have the creatives that are all creative. Then I have some people that are kind of in the middle. So
like
what's your stance on like quality of the creative?
I'm not really excited about the quality of
Mm,
creative. I'm excited about the process support. They get right now, it's getting a thumbs
yeah.
up. Like, yeah, okay, that's great. But the creative process, I'm not feeling it yet. But I have hope. I think it's going to get better
Yeah.
and better.
Yeah.
The reason it's still concerning is that it doesn't. You have to teach it. It doesn't know the rules of the road, so you really have to teach it.
Absolutely.
And as designers and creators, you're giving
Mm,
control over something that it's not the human experience. So how do you leverage it? I'm not quite sure yet and be successful. I have not. I'm sure someone's going to try to prove me wrong after saying this, but I have not been incredibly impressed with the creative process of it just yet.
yeah.
I've even tried to leverage it so I could test it out. And
Mhm.
yes, I've leveraged it as maybe a mock-up of an idea.
Yeah.
So to give it credit, that can be helpful if you're trying to think through an idea and you want to show it digitally to a client. I've used that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And now, ironically, I will be building it from scratch because it just didn't really take, but it did help me get the idea across. So there's my
Yeah.
credit. It can
I
help.
just and it's moving so fast. So if you're watching this in the future, hey, we're doing this
Yeah,
April
relax. Yeah,
2024. We're doing this in April, and then give
right,
it a 5 months, and there's gonna be like, oh, by the way, did you see this?
right.
So for now, by the way, I actually agree with your sentiment right now. But what it has done is it's given the novices, and I don't mean novice in a bad way. I just mean just who haven't spent
Mhm.
their life creating creative and working with the clients. It's given them. I feel like it's broadened the market for people to even have that kind of concept of what it is to be creative and to create ideas and to test things. And even if it's just at the this is pretty cool stage, at least it's bringing those people into the conversation that would have never been in the conversation before. We're kind of on the fringe. So I feel that just the participation alone is going to elevate like through that process, like creative across the board from humans too, I feel. Like, because it's going to give different ideas, like what you just said. Like, it didn't
Sure.
get you there, but did it spark something? Maybe not on that campaign, but maybe it does in the future.
And the spark is what I'm giving credit to. I
Yeah.
will say this, my design education and also what I've taught my students in the past,
Hmm.
no matter what changes, because it will change.
Oh yeah.
Design, the tools constantly moving, always moving. The theories of design are always the same. Those
Mhm.
principles that you learned at the foundation don't change. And I think that's where even the novice, sorry, new designers,
Mm.
you need to get classically trained to really always have that foundation because something else is going to come out after we get over the AI
Mm.
excitement.
Mm.
Always something new on the horizon for the design industry. It'll never change.
Mm. So I'm trying to put myself in your shoes right now. Like you're going into an organization, you're working with them. Either they have some version of a dam system or not.
Mm.
Every different and everything in between. Like you're working with their leadership. I feel like any new thing that you're introducing in an organization, whether it's this or something else, like new concepts, right? Especially getting into the design team and you have to kind of to implement this. Like you're involved. This isn't something that
Yes.
they plug and play. So in the beginning, so that being said, like, what is it like? Like, how do you communicate? Like, and how do you kind of teach leadership in terms of how to communicate these things in these organizations? Because I know you're big and you're working with big teams.
Yeah. So the conversation usually tends to start within an IT atmosphere or maybe a creative operations marketing technology team. That tends to be where we'll start a conversation or
Yeah.
someone from one of those teams will reach out to us. And it's never because things are okay. If something's
Yeah.
wrong. It either there's something in digital asset management space that needs to be corrected
Mm.
or activated. By the way, that's fine. That's exactly what we're here for,
Yeah.
to help with those processes, right? And it usually is something like this. They tried something on their own without a subject matter expert
Mm.
because they thought they could do it on their own,
Been there, done that. I'll pick with
right?
myself. Been there, done that. I thought I could do it. Go ahead.
Got it. That's okay. And then a lot of times they end up making it worse. Like,
Been there, done that.
for example, a common thing we see is, and by the way, there's so many amazing content operation and IT
Absolutely.
solutions, right? There's
Absolutely.
lots of great vendors out there.
Yeah,
So this is,
absolutely.
but it doesn't mean every single one of those vendors is right for you and your
Mhm.
company and your team. So a lot of times a common thing we'll walk in is you pick the wrong tech stack for what you're
Mm,
trying to do. So that's one thing that always stands out of like, it
yeah.
might not be the best tool, like a flathead screwdriver versus,
Mhm.
a Phillips head. Like, I don't know, you want to get the right one. And then the other thing, and very commonly we'll find, is they don't have the right brains on the team. For
Mm,
example, there was one situation, walked in, the company had hundreds of thousands of pieces of content across the world.
mhm.
They had one librarian,
Wow.
and they expected this one librarian to just figure it out. And
Wow.
how this person had not already quit their job was beyond me.
That's a very big stress point. Yeah.
They were
For
very,
that.
very stressed, but we brought relief. And the team now, I think it's still maybe about 15 to 20 people,
Mhm.
which was the accurate size for the volume of things happening. So
Mm,
a lot of times I just don't realize how many hands it takes to get this done correctly, and that it does
mm,
take people and hands to get in there and actually get the content ready for the system and make sure it's in the right place. So those are the two things that always stand out to me when I walk in. And then the third is sometimes a flat out will be told, like, I'm really scared I'm going to be fired because of making
mm,
these decisions. So
mm,
there's fear, there's genuine fear, like, because the dysfunction is very real and it's very noticeable. So just smoothing out even maybe some politics and some concerns of, all right, let's investigate and let's activate and let's get stable so we can just be happy at work and do our jobs,
mhm.
find our stuff.
So talk to me a little bit about the plan for the business. So Blue Trail Digital and the rollout. Like give me a little bit more. I know, and also the with working with the Launchbox. I love bringing one of their companies on. Like give us a little bit of the business side of things and what you're working on.
So what we're working on right now is really marketing our services that we're here and we're ready to help. We're
Yeah.
focused on larger enterprises, what we call a house of brands.
Hmm.
So meaning that companies that acquire lots and lots of different brands.
Hmm.
That's our thing. Like, we're really, the bigger the mess, the happier we are. We love a big mess. We'll come and help you out.
Amazing.
And so we're going through, and we're on a road show. I just got back from Austin, Texas, and from Dallas, Texas.
Mm.
Road show to meet the different communities of people who are experts in content management. And
Hmm.
actually, it looks like next month we might be in Orlando, Florida,
Yeah.
at a conference. So not booked yet, but we're going on tour, and I want to meet
Mm.
people in person. I want to hear their stories of how they get through managing their content.
Mm.
Really, just not only building a business, but also want to help build an educated community around
Mm.
content operations. Uh,
Mm.
just it's fun to do anyway.
What
So we
does that what does that word community mean for you? Like how does that play into this? Because I'm a big fan of it. I mean, for Admission Matters, when that's what we lead with. Like that's how we've been able to attract amazing partners. I'm just curious in your end for your vision on that as a leader.
Yeah, my vision on that is to open up the silos. I think there's
Mm,
experts who talk just in DAM, or
yeah.
they talk just in the creative process, or they talk just in ecom, but they're not all talking to each other. So what
Uh,
I'm trying to do is, when I fill up a room of people, I want people who are on the user experience team. I
mhm,
want the CMO of a company.
mm,
I want to even maybe bring someone random, like someone who understands supply chain.
mm,
How could we learn from them to do our operations better? So I really want to build a community so we can broaden our view of, we could do this better.
mm.
Our world has changed. We have not caught up to the operational excellence it needs in the digital revolution. So I'd like to help us get there a little faster and just talk to each other. We're
Yeah.
not talking to each other yet. So that's
That's
my one.
exciting to me because that leads to innovation too. Like
Yeah.
that's how real innovation happens. It doesn't happen in a silo. It doesn't happen with just one person. Like you need these types of environments in order to make things happen.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a lot easier to do when you have drinks and feeding food and you're loosened up and like, all right, let's talk shop.
We're human. Yes,
Yes,
that's the human in us. Technologists are creative aside.
it's pretty fun to put them in a room though.
So this is amazing, Lindsey. I'm excited to have you on the show. Excited to get further into and further my knowledge in DAM as well, and to bring you in front of our audience. I just have to ask. I mean, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the company?
Yeah. So what's next is we have a webinar series that's also going. So please join us next. Let's see. The next one's April 25th at noon Eastern. We're going to talk about debunking operations. And how to bring the right blend of people into a team. That's going to be really fun. I have a special guest I've worked with several times. She's amazing at this. Her name's Deanne Stock. So I'm excited to show off her amazing talent and knowledge and wisdom. And then, like I said, we're on our little tour. So we're probably going to be in Chicago this summer. And in the fall, it looks like we'll be out in New York to say hi to everybody. And talking to our potential future clients, and really excited to see how we can help people enjoy their jobs and content.
So for that webinar, you got a little teaser for me? What's one of, because you've worked with the person before, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. Like, what's one of the takeaways that you feel somebody's going to get? Because I want people to check it out.
So I'm going to brag about her.
Do that bragging. That's what I want to hear. Don't be scared, Lindsey.
I worked for her. I worked with her, and then I worked for her again, but she was my client. And I noticed something, and I can't believe how long it took me to realize it. But she always has this just powerhouse team.
Wow.
And I realized it's her. She has something about how she leads a team that just makes them elevated. So I asked her about it over drinks one time. Like, what are you doing? Like, what have you done to me? What have you done to them? Like, what do you do?
And, what are you feeding them? Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. But she went into this whole philosophy I've never heard her speak of about creating the right environment, seeing people's talent, and also she has an ability to see who's going to get along really well and who isn't.
There's two sides of that. I'm in. Go.
She's pretty accurate. Not 100% accurate, but I'd say she's like 91% accurate. But she's going to discuss it with us and really tell her trade secrets of how she does this. And I sincerely think she's one of the best at it I've ever watched when it comes to leading a team and building a team. So I've learned a lot from her, and I can't wait to share it with everyone else who wants to listen in.
Amazing. So, Lindsey, if somebody's watching this or listening to this and they want to learn more about Blue Trail Digital or the webinar or just follow the journey, I mean, how do they do that?
Yeah, so you can look me up, Lindsey Hawkins. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can also find our group, Blue Trail Digital, on LinkedIn, or just go to bluetraildigital.com, and our website's there, and you can reach out to us. I'd love to chat.
Amazing. And for everybody watching and listening in, we'll put all that information in the show notes, so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And if this is your first time with us and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, this is your very personal invitation. Hit that subscribe button or that follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new entrepreneurs, new experts, new leaders in their fields, and we don't want you to miss a thing. Lindsey, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much again for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Adam.